Wow, well, so last year I was standing up here and hearing all of these wonderful things about myself and actually thinking that I was a pretty good person. And then this year I got invited back to introduce someone who really makes me feel like an underachiever, Malala Yousafzai. And obviously she does not need much of an introduction. And I think the best way to, at least for me personally, reflect on who she is to remember the way I think many of us do, where we were the day that we first actually heard her name. And we followed her story. We globally followed her story. And it's so rare that you get somebody who actually manages to somehow transcend ethnicity and nationality and religion and really rally a movement behind our collective desire to have her survive and thrive. And then Malala actually went beyond that. She became something for so many of us, even myself, to look towards because of the way that she fights. And we all know that it's so hard to fight. It's hard for us to fight every day as journalists for all of these different causes that are out there, whether it's Syria or Iraq or Yemen or the wars that are happening. And Malala continues to fight. And for that, I have so much respect and so much admiration for her. And can I just say that, by the way, the girl also gets straight A's all the time. I mean, who does that? Like, seriously. I mean, give me a break. But there's also this ongoing debate that I've been having with my colleagues within the news industry, and that actually we were having tonight, and it's about, who's winning? Is good winning or is evil winning when we look out there, especially at the world today? And I think despite how we may feel about that debate, we know that there's people like Malala out there who are going to continue to struggle for something that so many of us take for granted. A girl's right to education, a child's right to education, women's rights. And how much darker of a world would it be if people like her didn't exist? And I am so thrilled to be here again tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.
I was just 10, that more than 400 schools were destroyed. Women were flogged. People were killed. And our beautiful dreams turned into nightmares.
Today, this idyllic valley of peace is burning. Why the peace of this valley is destroyed? Why we the peace and innocent people of the valley are targeted?
They cannot stop me. I will get my education if it is in home, school, or any place.
Malala's life changed forever on October 9th, 2012. While on her way home from school in Pakistan's Swat Valley, a group of armed Taliban boarded her school bus, asked for her by name, and shot her in the head.
When my world suddenly changed, my priorities changed too. I had two options. One was to remain silent and wait to be killed. And the second was to speak up and then be killed. I chose the second one. I decided to speak up.
I'm April Montgomery Goebel, a board member of the James W. Foley Legacy Foundation. I nominated Malala Yousafzai for the Humanitarian Award because of her incredible moral courage. Both Jim and Malala were willing to risk their lives in order to fight for basic human rights. I first met Jim in 1998 when he was a teacher, and I know how deeply he cared about education and believed in the power of a good teacher to transform life outcomes. Malala's voice and story is having an impact on children across the world, and I know firsthand how she's impacting children in Chicago I work with over 2,000 children in Chicago, and I see how they look up to Malala and they see her example as providing a path for hope and inspiration. So Malala, thank you so much for accepting this award. We are all incredibly grateful that you will carry a piece of Jim's legacy into the future.
I am deeply honored and humbled to be with you, Malala.
Thank you.
And it just gives me great joy that someone like you will continue Jim's legacy of goodness into the world. We need you.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm honored to receive this award, and I want to thank you and to thank both of you for all the work that you are doing, and also, James Foley, he was a teacher, as you shared, and he also was a journalist raising the voices of most vulnerable people who needed a voice, and he put his life in risk, and he was not afraid. So we salute him, we thank him, but also just a reminder to the world what journalists, go through in conflict zones, and whether that's in conflict in Syria, or was it in Swat Valley where there was conflict when I was, growing up, and whether it's in Mexico or any other part of the world. So we salute and thank all the journalists for their bravery, for their courage, and also I am honored that you have shown your support towards my cause as well, which is girls' education. And if we want to have more peaceful world, we must invest in girls in their education to make sure they have a future. And so it gives me hope and positive energy to meet you and to talk to you. And again, thank you so much for this award, and thank you for your support.
We are pleased tonight to have
Not
Lynn
have
here.
Malala, sorry. My name is Lynn Taliento. I'm a board member of the Malala Fund. And she wanted me to just say a few words. She was so eager to be here and couldn't make it. She was thrilled to meet Diane in Canada. But she wanted me to just say how grateful she is to have received this award. And then I reflected a bit as I was thinking about Jim's amazing story, and frankly listening to Chris and Jen. And I thought about some of the similarities between Jim and Malala. And I think one is really quite profound for me, and we had the chance to speak about this before the night started. There's a great quote by Winston Churchill that says that, courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. But courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. And I think you heard so much about Jim listening, about Jen listening to the families, about Chris hearing and listening to people, and Malala, for all of her courage and her boldness, she is listening to every voice of every young girl out there who cannot go to school. And I think about a story that I read about Chris when he was, about Jim when he was working for Teach for America. And he was helping young people find their voice and find their way to education. And that he could see into their own desires to be more than who they were through education. That's courage of a different sort. It's to hear and see the power in someone else and then to go fight for it. And I think, as Jim's dad and I were talking about, you don't know if you have courage until it's tested. I think in both Jim's case and in Malala's case, as we said this evening, it was tested and they passed. I think Jen and Chris did as well. And so again, on behalf of Malala, I want to thank all of you for the award and everybody here for the loud courage that you may have and the quiet courage that you may have in hearing others and listening to others. And if we can all do our part to raise their voices and to give some of our courage to them. Thank you.